Hello everyone, welcome and welcome back to the Product Marketing Festival in APAC. With product marketing experts from Singapore, Australia, China Mainland, Hong Kong, Malaysia, India, and many other regions. We'll be covering all product marketing aspects from sales enablement, go-to-market strategy, to customer onboarding, positioning, and messaging. We got them all. You are guaranteed to walk away with tons of new ideas and strategies to take your product to the next level. I would also like to take this chance to say a big thank you to all festival speakers. We cannot make this without you. Also, thanks for the support from iClick Interactive. Their presentation, Discover the Secret to Adapting Data-Driven Marketing in China, is scheduled at day 1 afternoon, 3:30 Singapore time. I highly recommend it if you have not signed up for it yet. Last but not the least, if you would like to interact with our speakers and other attendees, please join our group page link at the end. We look forward to the Q&A session and your feedback over there. Relax and enjoy the festival.
Hey everyone, I'm Saranya, a product marketing consultant and an active ambassador of PMA from India. Yeah, it's been 4 or 5 months into remote working for most of us. Hope you all are keeping yourself physically and mentally fit. Kudos to that. And thank you very much for joining my session today. So even though it's been 4 to 5 months, it's still weird talking to myself on the web camera, but still, let's do it. So a little bit of background about myself. I just moved out of my full-time job last month to pursue my research in customer psychology. And I'll also be consulting a few startups in the SaaS space in the meantime. So right now I'm talking to you from a small town in India. So I'm staying here with my folks, and I don't have a great soundproof room in here. So I hope it is okay if the birds sing along with me for the presentation. Right. So yeah, it's always been a pleasure connecting with people who are in the product marketing space and also sharing my experience with beginners who are starting up in this domain. Right. And I really love the idea of community. I really love PMA because there's a lot of sharing and learning happening, right? And thank you very much, PMA, for inviting me as a speaker for your session today. Okay, so my session is gonna be the last one of the day and also the summit. So since it's gonna be the final one, I'm gonna keep it completely cool and crisp. So first things first. So this session is going to be for the beginners in product marketing that are wondering about the impact of customers in their day-to-day jobs, and also why they are to be put at the very center of every marketing activity. A lot of them ask me how to get started in product marketing. So I always have a default answer to it. So I tell them, like, start it with knowing your customers. So of course, like, it has to start with knowing the product, which is a no-brainer. But the second most crucial thing is knowing your customers, because your journey as a marketer, product marketer, starts, progresses, and grows along with your customers. So this is one of the key messages that I'll be talking about today, along with 3 others, which is marketers are magicians. Marketing is not a selfish act. It's not supposed to be a selfish act. And the quality of your marketing is directly proportional to knowing your customers. Cool. Let's jump into the first topic. Marketers are magicians. So if you ask me if it's a good thing or a bad thing, it's both. A lot of businesses think that marketers are magicians that generate leads, accelerate business, make the brand popular. So I used to work for a digital agency in the past. I was working along with a lot of FMCG and consumer brands, sorry. So I had people call me up in the middle of the night and talk about going viral on social media. So one of the abused terms that I've ever come across in my career. So it's not just an FMCG. It's prevalent across verticals. Maybe the way we call it is different between verticals, but the idea remains the same: insane and selfish. But I somehow feel all of this is connecting us back to the evolution of marketing. So a little bit of history here. Before 2000s, we were relying on traditional channels like print, television, radio, and billboards to reach a mass market. And brands were investing heavily on all of these channels to create awareness, generate leads, make business, all of the same roof, because all we had was traditional medium back then. But the medium had its own advantages, like really striking advantages: higher reach, proven success rate, and easier recall and stuff like that. And even today, there are so many marketers that rely on traditional, that choose traditional medium over digital for advertisements and marketing and promotions. So basically, before 2000s, marketers were not marketers; they were advertisers, to be precise. So, and then the shift to digital happened. It gave new responsibilities to marketers and gave birth to a lot of beautiful concepts in marketing, like performance marketing, product marketing, growth marketing, branding, etc. So, all of these evolved over the years, right? But to be very honest, when the shift to digital happened, we were stuck in between advertisements and marketing. And I think even today, a lot of marketers are stuck in between advertisements and marketing. So we were basically identifying platforms on digital that could give us the same results as traditional. Basically, because we all are afraid of falling flat, right? Like everyone is afraid of falling flat. We want to keep up with the same performance numbers. So I don't entirely reject this idea, because this is also a part of marketing. But the problem arises when you overdo this. So the thing that I'm trying to establish here is digital is a customer driven platform. And when your marketing effort pushes people to buy your product without empathizing on their needs, it becomes a selfish act. So something like, no matter you need this product or not, I'm gonna show this web ad for you, and this ad will follow you wherever you go, right? It's like a punishment. And no matter if you have this business problem or not, I'm gonna email and spam you about my product. So by doing all of this, we are only putting the marketers in a bad shape and an extremely desperate position in the minds of the buyer. So, like Seth Godin says in one of his interviews, we all have to come together and undo the idea that marketing is selfish and spam. So, we all have to change the way customers look at marketers. So, that is possible if we take that first step, right? The first step to this is understanding the platform. So I think it's really important for us to know the difference between these platforms to better align our marketing activities. So traditional on one side is a creativity driven platform, and digital on the other side is content driven. So on traditional, all you have is a few seconds to woo your customers with your copy, design, video, so on and so forth. But on digital, customers spend hours and hours together to read your content before they make the decision. So basically, customers decide and influence marketers on what they want to hear on digital. They leave us digital cues to improve our marketing communications. We get to know what interests them, what excites them, and what bores them, etc. So the whole psychographic lets marketers create specific segments of customers based on their interests, interactions, etc. with the brand. So I find this very beautiful about marketing, and it's very brilliant about digital, because personally it had helped me a lot to create specific segments and talk relevant things to my prospects and customers. So I feel it's a beautiful opportunity to get closer to the customer and talk about meaningful things. And also, I find it very similar to personal relationships. The more you understand your partner, the more beautiful and worthwhile your relationship becomes, right? I find it very similar. So once you understand the platform, you'll be able to shift focus to the customer first approach, put your customers over your marketing goals. So I'm sure most organizations and marketers would have already realized the value and made the shift. But it's never too late, like there's always a better way of adopting a principle or an idea. So even if you're late, you'd probably arrive at the best way of looking at the entire concept, right? So it'll keep evolving down the lane. So now I'm going to go back to the same message I started this presentation with. Marketers are magicians, but this time around I have an entirely new perspective to it. Marketers are magicians to customers. That's how it's supposed to be, right? So I have a little secret to share with you in here. Try doing it and let me know if that works for you. Make your spell, all your abracadabras, work on solving customer problems. And I'm telling you this because I see that it will do wonders in marketing and to your business as well. So when you do something with a lot of empathy and love for your buyer, they automatically feel valued. And that in turn will make them stay with your brand for a long time and vouch for your brand, right? So along with me, a lot of marketers and experts completely believe in this idea of being empathetic, like empathetic marketing, and they talk about empathy on LinkedIn as well, and they spend a lot of time knowing their customers and addressing. So it's a concept that will constantly evolve. So I think like with smarter marketers like you, it will continue to evolve and take different dimensions as well. So on the other side, talking about empathy is fine, but applying this to your day-to-day jobs is much more challenging. But I have a solution to this. So one easy tack to practically apply this to your everyday marketing is by respecting the buyer's journey: awareness, consideration, decision, and retention. These are the four stages, right? So I'm sure you'll be working on a lot of collaterals, materials, and campaigns that are exclusively made for different stages in a buyer's journey. So I'm just gonna give you a brief overview of marketing collaterals that are relevant across stages. I know it's a lot, but don't worry, I'm not gonna deep dive into it. I'm just gonna leave it there so that you can take a look, or probably take a screenshot and take a look at it later. So yeah, as a marketer, we are responsible for helping and navigating the customers through all of these stages, right? So a good tactic that I follow at work is be it a collateral or a simple email, I'll ask myself if this will help my prospect move to the next stage in the journey. So I think it's always better that we ask this question to ourselves numerous times, because this is the only thing that will help help the users to move to the next stage or take the buying decision. So yeah, that's all I have for the topic, marketers are magicians. So moving on to the next topic. So far, I've been talking as a marketer, but now I'll be switching roles. I'm gonna take the role of customer. Because of course, I'm a customer to a lot of products and I interact with a lot of marketers too. And also that I love doing this exercise because I personally learn a lot through this. What my what I want my marketers to do for me is exactly what my customers expect from me as a marketer as well, right? So it's a very beautiful learning. So I really suggest you do this exercise too. It's quite an interesting one. You should try that. But just a quick check here, you shouldn't be doing this exercise as a marketer who's seeking for inspiration. So you should be doing it as a customer and subtly observe all the interactions and conversations that you are having with the marketer. And then think about it as a marketer and see what better you can do for your customers, right? So from the next slide onwards, I'm gonna take you through my journey as a buyer with a lot of products. So I'm gonna take you through the challenges that I faced in each of the stages, in the buyer's journey. And also, I'll be dedicating a song to the marketers at each of the stages. I have this weird habit of responding to questions and situations with a song. So I just thought, why not try this in my presentation today? It's just a try. So let me know if you like it. Stage one, awareness. So a few years back, I attended this really good marketing summit. So I was exploring a marketing automation software for the company that I used to work with. And you know, trade shows, right? Like you can't actually figure out much from the booth or the stand and the messaging that they have. So you got to get inside the booth to check what they have in store for you. So I went inside a lot of booths and spoke to a lot of marketers out there. So I'll just tell you one of the examples, like one of the experiences at the event. So I went inside this booth and a marketer received me and he spoke with me like for almost 10-15 minutes. And if I had to give a song to this communication, like I would probably pick this famous number by Jason Mraz, Lucky. So the communication went like this, like, don't worry, even though it's a song, I'm decoding that in the marketing language so that you understand. Do you hear me? I'm talking to you across the water, across the deep blue ocean, under the open sky. Oh my, baby, I'm trying. So yeah, you get the decoding, right? It was more on the company background and the accomplishment and what all they have and what all they achieved till date. And a bit of pushy messages. That's okay. It's okay. It happens. But as a customer, I felt no one actually focused on the value proposition much. And they didn't understand my problem area completely. Everything was just on the surface. So at this stage, the top tip to the marketer would be any communication shouldn't be focusing too much about you, at least at this stage. It should focus on two main things. One, your customers' problem areas, and two, how you or your product can solve their business problem in that order. So it's not just in offline events, also online, wherever the customer interacts with you for the first time. Your web pages, for that matter, should be focusing on the value propositions again and the business problem that the product addresses. Of course, about the company, your legacy, testimonials are important, but not at this stage, right? Here, the bottom line is I need to know if you have a product to solve my problem. That's about it. Stage two and three, consideration and decision. The stages where customers evaluate the product as against the competitions and goes feature by feature to see if the product is the right fit for their business. Marketers are supposed to handhold the prospective customers a lot in these stages because they would need a lot of materials to take the buying decision. But unfortunately, I got to figure out that 65% of B2B marketers have not established lead nurturing. That's sad, right? So that means any customer who has shared the contact on a marketing campaign is not going to go through a lead nurturing cycle. So a bit about lead nurturing. It's a process of developing relationships with buyers by listening to their needs and providing the information they need at the right time. So the top challenge I've faced as a buyer in these stages is also somewhat connected. So even after sharing the contact credentials with the company, I don't hear back from the marketers for almost 20, 30 days. So what if it is an immediate need, right? Sometimes I've heard back from them when I've already chosen to buy the competitor product. So yes, if I have to give a song to the stage as a customer, or probably dedicate a song to the marketer, I would choose Great Big Worlds. Say something, I'm giving up on you. So yeah, the only way to improve the situation is to set up a lead nurturing engine and provide your prospects all the materials they need to make the decision. Stage 4, retention. So I'm sure you'd have heard about this popular content piece by Harvard Business Review, the value of keeping the right customers. So it's quite a popular one, and you can see this stat all over the internet. The cost of acquiring a new customers is anywhere from 5 to 25% more expensive than retaining an existing one. So that tells us how crucial it is for a business to retain a customer, right? So, and also there is a famous stat by Forbes that reveals the top reason customers switch brands is because they feel unappreciated. And also there's one other stat that accompanies this, where US companies lose $134 billion per year because of customer switching. So yeah, so there's a lot of stats around this entire retention thing. So any slip in communication and support would make you lose your customers in this stage. So I've used and changed products in the past. The problems that I've encountered as a customer is marketers come into picture only after I decide to move out of the product, right? And they try too hard to retain me at that point. But I feel a good retention strategy should apparently start the very moment a customer onboards, right? It has to start like soon after we onboard. Like they have to create a community, they have to have a lot of activations around retentions, right? So, to the marketer or to marketers that don't concentrate on retention, I would like to dedicate a song by Christina Perry. No, I can take one more step towards you, 'cause all is waiting is regret. I hope you enjoyed my journey as a buyer. So please feel free to connect with me on PMA Slack or maybe on LinkedIn to share with me your stories and experiences as a buyer. So let's talk about that. But now let's delve into the next topic. The quality of your marketing is directly proportional to knowing your customers. So I've categorized marketers into three types in this section: listeners, empathizers, and invaders or intruders, like that involve in intrusive marketing. Listeners are the ones that spend the time to learn about customers. They know the customer needs, but their process of listening, like probably the activity of listening, stops with listening itself. They don't naturally respond, right? Like if you have a need, they don't naturally respond. Their process stops with listening. So if you have to connect this with a real life scenario, for example, if you've been wanting something for months and your beloved observes and listen to all your rants for almost 4 to 5 months now, and your birthday arrives, and listeners are the ones who are going to come back with the same default bunch of roses with a bottle of wine. So this gives me a feeling of sending bulk emails to people with no personalization, even after spending time to know them and having data about them in your systems. So the problem with listeners is this, like they stop with the process of listening itself. Like they don't naturally respond. Listening is good, but it's not that good enough. The next is empathizers. They learn about the customer needs, they respond and delight them. They go one step over, right? So in the same scenario, if you've been wanting headphones, empathizers will make sure you get the best high quality headphones in the market, right? Because empathy is the highest form of knowledge and intelligence. And invaders, they are the ones who indulge in activities that goes overboard, like that go a bit overboard and result in breach of trust. For example, when you don't treat the customer data well, when you go really too personal on your emails and messages, and you break into the spaces like emails and message spaces, messaging apps without seeking permissions, you basically run into issues. So collectively, listeners gain a bit of customers' happiness, empathizes win their hearts and love, intruders annoy and disturb their peace of mind. So that's taking me to the core message of my presentation. So empathize with your buyer, no downplaying or overdoing recommended. All right. So I've put together a closing act for you all. So this is going to be the last part of the session. This is going to be about privacy. Since we spoke about intruders and intrusive marketing in the previous session, I just don't want to leave it open-ended. I want to close this session with privacy. Privacy is one of the sensitive and crucial topics that every marketer should stay on top of. Even though it's a sensitive one, I'm going to explain it in the most unconventional and funny ways so that it stays on top of your mind and stays with you for a long time. So imagine Adele, like the singer, is my marketer, and I'm getting marketing emails from her. And the best part is I'm getting emails that I didn't sign up for. Hello, it's me. And I respond back saying, asking her if I know her already because the name of the company doesn't sound so familiar to me. So I wanted to ask that question. I was wondering if after all these years you'd like to meet. And this takes me by surprise, definitely takes me off guard because getting personal sounding emails from a stranger kind of scary too, right? So I unsubscribed, the natural behavior. So this is level 1. So I have a few checks. So you got to probably check all of this at level 1 and clear it off. 1, you should collect data responsibly. Always get consent from customers for sending marketing emails. So no matter the market that you work for, your customer definitely deserve this. And if you're using third-party cookies, make sure you use consent diligently. 3, if you're sending emails for the first time, please set the context right. And 4, if you're sending personal emails like these, you make sure you've already touched base with them in the past, like maybe over a call or in person, right? Because you can't actually go way too personal in the very first email. All right, continuing on the sequence. Even after unsubscription, I'm getting emails from Adele to go over everything. And then all I could do at this stage is forward this email to the privacy team, right? Because I've already unsubscribed and I'm clueless on why I'm getting marketing emails still from the same person. Hello, can you hear me? And this goes to the privacy team. And the privacy team responded asking for why we are getting emails even after unsubscription. So this is level 2. And at level 2, there are a couple of other checks. So 1, make sure your unsubscription process is set up at org level so that you don't send emails to people who have unsubscribed from your emails. Most of the time, the thought hits us only after we run into issues, like only after this gets to the customer's privacy team. And 2, if you're using 2 or more places to store customer data, if you're using 2 or more tools to store customer data, make sure the tools filter out people who unsubscribe from the emails at org level, right? All right, moving on with the interactions with Adele. So after hearing from the privacy team, Adele gets a bit emotional. Hello from the other side. I must have called 1,000 times to tell you I'm sorry. So yeah, Adele apologizes, but the privacy team feels that it's already too late, and privacy team, being a privacy team, takes it forward from there on. So this is level 3, and there are final set of checks. So last but not the least, train everyone in your team about privacy basics and GDPR basics, because privacy is not a single person's or a single team's job. Like, it's cross functional. Especially marketers are supposed to have a sound knowledge in this topic, because to reach a market without striking the wrong chord, privacy basics are very important, right? So with that message, I'm signing off. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you very much for staying till the end of the session. I'm really glad, and I hope you found this session helpful. Thank you again.